Hello everyone, I am Dr. CR, MBBS, MD in Health Informatics. Welcome to the Medical Coding Lecture Series. In this tutorial series, we are going to discuss ICD-10 coding guidelines chapter by chapter. Chapter 5, Mental, Behavioral and Neurodevelopmental Disorders. This chapter covers codes F01 all the way through F99. It has some of the most specific and frequently tested guidelines in the entire coding exam. Alright, let's get oriented. Chapter 5 is divided into several major code blocks. It helps to know before we zoom in on the guideline. You have got F01 through F09, which covers organic mental disorders, things caused by brain disease or injury. Then F10 through F19, which is where substance related disorders like alcohol, opioids, cannabis and so on. That block is going to get a lot of our attention today. Moving on, F20 through F29 covers schizophrenia spectrum and psychotic disorders. F30 through F39 is mood and affective disorders like depression, bipolar. F40 through F48 covers neurotic, stress-related and somatoform disorders, and that's where our pain coding guidelines come in. Then F60 through F69 is personality and behavioral disorders. F70 through F79 covers intellectual disabilities. F80 through F89 covers pervasive developmental disorders. And finally, F90 through F98 covers behavioral and emotional disorders with onset in childhood, things like ADHD. Now that you have the lay of the land, let's get into the chapter specific guidelines. We are starting with Sector 1, which covers pain disorders and related psychological factors. This one trips up a lot of coders because there are two very similar codes, and choosing the wrong one is a classic CPC exam trap. Let's make sure you get it right every time. Here's the core of Guideline A. There are two codes for pain disorders with a psychological element, and they work very differently. One in the left side of your screen, you will see F45.41. Pain disorder exclusively related to psychological factor. The keyword here is exclusively. This code is used when the pain has no organic cause whatsoever. It is entirely psychological or somatoform condition. And here's what you absolutely must remember. There's an excludes one node under category G89. And exclude one node means you cannot use both codes at the same time. So if you assign F45.41, you must not assign G89 code alongside it. They are mutually exclusive. For example, chest pain diagnosed as persistent somatoform pain disorder, then code F49.41 only, no G89 added. So the keyword is exclusively. Now on the right side, we have F45.42, pain disorder with related psychological factors. This is used when the patient has both an organic pain condition and a documented psychological component. In this case, not only can you add a G89 code, you must F49.42 requires a companion code from category G89. For example, patient with chronic low back pain and documented psychological factor. So here you have to code F45.42 with G89.29. Here the keyword is related or component. So let's look at the comparison table on screen. You have got the code, when to use it, whether to combine it with G89, and the key term to look for in the documentation. F45.41 exclusively psychological, no G89. So the keyword is exclusively. F45.42 has the psychological component, yes. So use with G89. So here the keyword is related or component. The exam will give you a clinical scenario and you have to pick up the right code. The trick they use is to describe the patient with pain and mention something psychological, and they are testing whether you know which code applies. The word exclusively is your signal for F45.41. Any language about a component or a contributing factor or a related psychological element tells you it's F45.4. And again, if you choose F45.41, stop there. Do not add G89 code. Doing so would violate the excludes one node, which is an immediate wrong answer in the exam. Section B, Psychoactive Substance Use Disorders. Here's your roadmap for substance use code. ICD-10 organizes them by substance type, each with its own category. F10 is alcohol, F11 is opioids, F12 is cannabis, F13 is sedatives and hypnotics, F14 is cocaine, F15 covers other stimulants, F16 is hallucinogens, F17 is tobacco and nicotine, and this one works a little differently because it goes straight to dependence code, and F18 is inhalants, and F19 covers others or multiple substances. With each category, the substance code pattern is consistent. Dot 1 codes for abuse, dot 2 codes for dependence, and dot 3 codes are for unspecified use. Notice the hierarchy is dependence over abuse over use, and you assign only one code per substance. So we are going to cover that hierarchy in detail on the next slides. Guidelines B1 covers in remission coding, and there are a few rules you need to log in here. Rule 1, provider's documentation is required. You cannot assign an in-remission code based on your own clinical interpretation. The provider has to explicitly document that the patient's substance use disorder is in remission. Rule 2, the severity of the disorder at the time of the diagnosis determines which type of remission code you use. Mild substance use disorders in early or sustained remission are classified to abuse in remission codes. Moderate and severe disorders in remission map to dependence in remission code. Rule 3, and this one surprises people, always verified in the ICD-10-CM alphabetical index, because the index can direct you to the dependence in remission code even when the documentation says mild. Look at the coding example. A patient with mild tobacco use disorder in remission. Institution might say that's an abuse code, but when you look at the disorder tobacco use, cigarettes mild in remission, in the index, it leads you to F17.211, that is nicotine dependence, cigarettes in remission. Despite mild severity, the index mapped to dependence in remission. So the classification overrides what you might expect. Always use the index, never assume. Now we get to what I consider the single most important rule in chapter 5 for the CPC exams, the use abuse dependence hierarchy. Look at the pyramid on your screen. At the top, dependence, in the middle, abuse, at the bottom, use. So here's the rule. When a provider documents more than one level of the same substance in the same patient, you assign only one code, the one at the highest level of the hierarchy. Let me walk through each combination. If the provider documents use and abuse, you code abuse. If the provider documents abuse and dependence, you code dependence. If all three are documented, you code dependence. So look at the examples. Cannabis dependence plus abuse documented, you code F12.20. That is cannabis dependence. Why? Because the dependence beats abuse in the hierarchy. Example 2, daily opioid use plus opioid abuse. You code F11.10. That is opioid abuse. Why? Because the abuse beats use. So the memory 8, DAU, dependence always uppermost. If you remember DOU, you will never get it wrong. Dependence, abuse, use. Guideline B3 is about psychoactive unspecified substance use codes. Those codes include F10.9, F11.9, F12.9. These codes are more restricted than you might think. You can only assign them when two conditions are both met. First, the assignment must be based on provider documentation. Second, the substance use must be associated with either a substance-related disorder like a sleep disorder, sexual dysfunction, or mental disorder, or documented medical condition, and the provider must explicitly document the relationship. So look at the red warning box in the bottom. Do not assign these unspecified use codes just because a patient uses a substance. There has to be a documented connection to a disorder or condition, and the provider has to make the connection clear. So this ties into the broader guidelines principle that unspecified codes are the last resort. They require just as much as documentation justification as any other diagnosis code. And guideline B4 clears up a really common misconceptions. Medical conditions caused by substance use, abuse, or dependence are not classified as substance-induced disorders. Instead, you follow a two-code approach. Step 1. Assign the medical condition code from the appropriate body system chapter as directed by the alphabetic index. Step 2. Also assign the substance disorder or abuse code from F10 through F19. So look at the example. A patient has alcoholic pancreatitis due to alcohol dependence. You assign K85.2 something, the pancreatitis code from chapter 11, and F10.20 for alcohol dependence. Two codes, two chapters. Here, do not use F10.288, that is alcohol dependence with other alcohol-induced disorders for medical conditions. On the CPC exam, one of the choices will often be F10.288, that is alcohol dependence with other alcohol-induced disorders. That is a trap. The code is not appropriate for medical conditions. Medical conditions get their own body system code. Guideline B5 covers blood alcohol level coding using category Y90. There are two things that need to be in place to use Y90 code. Number one, the blood alcohol level has been documented, and number two, the provider has documented a condition classifiable to category F10, that is alcohol related disorders. So here's the part that surprises people. The BAL, that is blood alcohol level, does not need to be documented by the patient's own provider. It can come from any clinician, for example an emergency department physician, as long as the value is documented somewhere in the medical record and the patient's provider has an F10 condition documented. You can code blood alcohol level. This official cross references ICD 10cm guideline section IB14 for blood alcohol documentation by clinicians other than patient's provider, worth knowing for the exam. Section C, factitious disorder. Factitious disorder is a condition where a person intentionally produces false symptoms. There are two very different types and they have completely different codes and completely different records. On the left side of the slide, factitious disorder imposed on self, also known as Munchausen syndrome. This is when the patient themselves falsely report or causes their own physical or psychological symptoms. The diagnosis goes on the patient's own record and we code it with F68.1- from subcategory F68.1. On the right side, factitious disorder imposed on other, also known as Munchausen syndrome by proxy or MSBP. Here a caregiver, a parent, spouse or a guardian falsely reports or actually cause illness in someone under their care. Common victims are children, elderly adults or people with disabilities. And here's the critical rule. Code 68.1, that is factitious disorder imposed on another, goes on the perpetrator's record, the caregiver, not the victim. So for the victim's record, you see codes from category T74 if the abuse is confirmed or T76 if it is suspected. And the perpetrator gets F68A, victims get T74 or T76. Never swap those. Let's run through the coding summary table on the screen so you have the full picture. Factitious disorder on self, that is Munchausen syndrome, code 68.1- on the patient's own record. Factitious disorder imposed on other, factitious disorder imposed on other, that is perpetrator. Here code F68A on the caregiver's record with T74 or T76 cross-referred for the victim. And the victim of Munchausen by proxy with confirmed abuse use T74.XX on the victim's record. Victim of MSBP with suspected abuse, code T76XX in the victim's record. Section D, dementia. ICD 10cm classifies dementia under three main categories, F01, F02 and F03. Your choice of category is driven by the etiology, that is the underlying cause. F01, vascular dementia. This is dementia caused by blood vessel problems in the brain, things like multi-infarct dementia or subcortical vascular dementia following strokes or TIAs. F02, dementia in diseases classified elsewhere. This is a big one. It's used when the dementia is caused by another disease that has its own code. For example, Alzheimer's disease, Parkinson's disease, Huntington's disease, HIV, Creutzfeldt-Jakob disease, and others. When you use an F02 code, the tabular will instruct you code first the underlying disease, meaning you sequence the etiology code before F02 code. So, G30.9 for Alzheimer's come before F02. Whatever. F03 is unspecified dementia. This is used when the etiology is not known or not documented. It's your dementia NOS code. So for F02, always code first the underlying disease. Example, as I said, G30.9 Alzheimer's disease. Then the F02 dementia code with severity. Now, within each dementia category, you also need to capture severity. ICD-10-CM has four options: unspecified, mild, moderate, and severe. Here's the rule, and it is absolute. The severity code is assigned only on the basis of provider documentation. The provider's clinical judgment determines this. You cannot infer it, you cannot assume it based on the labs or test scores, and you cannot upgrade or downgrade it on your own. So the unspecified severity is used when provider writes dementia without specifying how advanced it is. Don't add a severity qualifier that isn't there. Mild is assigned only when the provider explicitly documents mild dementia, and moderate is assigned only when the provider says moderate, and severe is assigned only when the provider documents severe. If severity is not documented, always default to unspecified. Here's a special rule that applies specifically to inpatient acute care and other inpatient facility settings. Imagine a patient is admitted with moderate dementia. During their hospital stay, the dementia progresses to severe. At discharge, the provider documents severe dementia. So what you do code? So look at the flow diagram on the screen. Admitted as moderate, during stay is progresses, and discharge as severe. So the answer is you assign one code for the highest severity reached during the entire inpatient stay. In this case, you code severe dementia. You do not code both moderate and severe as separate diagnosis codes. This is called the inpatient severity progression rule. It parallels the principal diagnosis concept of coding the highest level of specificity and severity known by the end of the stay. So this rule is for the inpatient settings. For outpatient coding, you code the severity documented at the time of the specific encounter. Alright, practice time. Pause the video if you want to work through this one yourself before I walk through the answer. Scenario: a 45-year-old patient presents with chronic lower back pain. The provider documents the patient has a psychological component contributing to the pain in addition to the diagnosed chronic pain syndrome. So think the answer. So find the answer using ICD-10-CM. The codes are F45.42, that is pain disorder with related psychological factors, and G89.29, that is other chronic pain. The rationale: pain has both the physical, that is chronic pain syndrome, and the psychological component. That is F45.42 is correct. F45.42 requires a companion, that is G89 code. If you code F45.41 would be wrong because the pain is not exclusively psychological. Scenario 2. Provider documents that a patient has both alcohol abuse and alcohol dependence. The patient has also a blood level of 150 mg per 100 milliliter documented by the emergency physician. So find the answer using ICD-10-CM codebook. So here the code assigns are F10.20, that is alcohol dependence uncomplicated, and Y90.60, that is blood alcohol level of 120 to 199 mg per 100 milliliter. So the hierarchy rule: dependence is overtake abuse, so you have to assign F10.20 for dependence. And at Y90 code for the documented blood alcohol level. The BAL can be documented by the emergency physician. It does not need to come from the patient's primary provider. Scenario 3. A child is brought to the hospital. The child's mother is diagnosed with Munchausen syndrome by proxy. The child's condition is confirmed as child abuse due to mother's actions. So find the ICD-10-CM codes. So here the codes assigned are for mother's record F68.A, that is factitious disorder imposed on another. In the child's record T74.12XA, that is child physical abuse confirmed initial encounter. Here F68A is assigned to the perpetrator, that is mother's record, and the child, that is victims, receives the appropriate T74 code for confirmed abuse. Scenario 4. Patient admitted to inpatient acute care with moderate dementia of Alzheimer's disease. During the stay, dementia progressed to severe. Provider documents severe Alzheimer's dementia with behavioral disturbance as discharge. So find the ICD-10-CM codes. Here the codes assigned are G30.9, that is Alzheimer's disease unspecified, that etiology code, that's the etiology. So code first per tabular instruction. Then F02.81, that is dementia in other diseases classified elsewhere, severe with behavioral disturbance. Here the inpatient progress rule, code only the highest severity reached. The patient went from the moderate to severe, so code severe only. Include the etiology code per code first tabular instruction. Do not code both moderate and severe. And that's the end of this chapter. If you have any doubts, please leave in the comment section. So if you have any queries, please leave in the comment section, or else you can contact me using my WhatsApp and email provided in the description. Please subscribe my channel and stay with me. Thank you.